may seem like a goody two-shoes who has a straight A student who sees only sunshines and rainbows.
I don't know about that one.
But in reality, you guys are right. I might have been a hoodlum back in my day.
I knew it. I could tell just by looking at you.
I can tell by just smelling you.
When I was in middle school, I was put into detention because I had done something so evil and so maniacal that it was not only put on my permanent record, potentially ruining my chances at getting into better schools and literally handicapping me for life.
What?
How did I not know about this? No wonder why you're a YouTuber.
But before I tell you the worst thing I possibly ever done, let me tell you the first time I almost got into detention to show you how bad the second thing truly was.
This has happened multiple times?
2 times in my life.
Who are you? Do I even know you?
Growing up in middle school, I genuinely minded my business and just stuck to myself, and I would just go to my class, I'd play Uno in the cafeteria, crazy eights if you know ball. I would run into the yard, the generic aspects of school.
Running?
That was actually the skinniest time in my life.
That's kind of sad, no?
At least I was skinny at some point, you know what I'm saying?
Bro,
Playing in the yard was truly my favorite part of school. I would literally show up to school an hour before school started just so I can play in the yard.
like the playground?
No, it was a giant cement block. It was like jail.
Mommy, I don't want to leave yet. I want to play a little more on the cement block.
And it was fenced off.
You're in a prison, bro.
This is not a school.
Every time we went in that yard, we played the same game over and over again. It was not tag. It was not cops and robbers. It was man's sport. Handball, football.
Ooh, with like the flags?
No flags. We were too poor for that. For anyone that hasn't played handball football, it is probably the greatest game that has ever graced the earth.
You know that game where you like throw like a tennis ball at the wall and like it comes back? What was it called? That was so fun.
Bro, that's just being lonely.
I love that sport.
Sox, you literally went to school at home. You'd wake up, go downstairs, and you were in school, bro. There would be 2 different teams, and the goal each team had was to touch the ball on the opposing team's wall. And if you got tagged while you had the ball, you had to stop everything you were doing and restart from that point you got tagged. It seems simple, right? But this game was highly competitive. I'm literally talking about genuine brawls and getting dragged on the floor by your feet, nails scraping on the concrete. And it was sometimes so bad that when I would come home, my mom thought I was in the middle of the fire. Even worse, I was literally getting jumped. This is exactly what she thought. I would literally come home from scrapes all over my body. Knees destroyed, black eyes. It was literally so intense.
Black eyes.
I'm not even joking. This will ultimately lead to people in opposite teams having the worst beefs for things that you wouldn't even remember. So I would be beefing with people on the other team. It would be the stupidest argument, but it would last for literal weeks because of how competitive this game was. We would run the same teams over and over again just because we wanted to prove the other people wrong, that we were better. You guys were the chosen team.
I was never chosen to be on any team.
Dude, you literally were homeschooled.
Your parents didn't even pick you, bro?
Your sister didn't even pick him either, bro. Honestly, I want your sister to pick me, Sox. Woo.
You can put on a wig.
Let's just say that not all of these beefs were forgettable. I was beefing with one specific person every time. I was never on the same team with him because I genuinely hated him. For the sake of the story, we're gonna call him Benjamin. I was not the only person that didn't like Benjamin. Nobody liked Benjamin. But it wasn't because of the game. It was mainly because of the kind of person he actually was. But we never excluded anybody from our games because our thought process was the bigger the game, the more enjoyable the game was gonna be. It's like a 20v20 in a giant courtyard with civilians in the middle of it that could get hurt at any point. Think about like Crossy Roads, but people are like trying to squish you in between like football.
Definitely we're in a prison.
Benjamin was always the person that took things a little too far. When everyone is saying don't get too physical, he would become the most aggressive person. I remember one time when we were doing gentle touches in the morning.
Wait, gentle touches? What is that?
To get the other people out, you have to tag, you know, like tag them. But instead of like pushing them, you just be like, boop, that's it. We're like play a little bit chiller. Let's not go too crazy. It is literally 7 a.m. I am not going crazy on the wake up. I'm not doing that.
Like the people in gym that don't wear deodorant, like be going hard in the morning.
Yeah, like you do not need to be doing this much in the morning.
Deodorant's actually a scam, I'll be honest.
Put your armpit down. I can smell it.
Why didn't anyone want me on their team? I don't get it.
And tell me how Benjamin literally goes in to tackle somebody to the floor, which is a literal concrete floor. That is not okay, especially at the age of 12. My mind is still developing and my skull is still squishy. If I touched that concrete floor the way Benjamin wanted me to, I genuinely would have a dent in my skull. I would almost look like Socks if he had no hair. So somehow we kind of started pushing him away from the game because the more he did, the more trouble we got into, to the point where they were starting to ban handball football from my school. Honestly, the answer was pretty simple. We had to banish him. But Benjamin was also that kind of person that if he wasn't invited, he wanted to ruin it for everybody else. So he started literally going around rage baiting everybody around him to see what kind of physical harm they would be willing to do to him, just so we can get us in trouble. And for the longest time, no one fell for it.
It was rage baiting before rage bait, bro.
He was actually like D1 rage baiter. He was actually really good at it. But no one fell for it for years. One day, I was the victim, and he knew how to get under my skin. I was a very easy person to get. So he knew how to get under my skin just enough to the point where I was basically folding under zero pressure. As a man, I think we all have very core rules underneath us. Some of these rules are pretty simple. If you have a sister, you must steal her food. You never attack women. I think it's pretty obvious. And you never talk about my mother in a negative light. That third one, I was especially adamant about, because you can make fun of anyone. You can make fun of my siblings. You can make fun of me in any way, because I can take it. But my mommy,
She's a mommy's boy.
and guess who knew this? Benjamin. He understood this more than anybody else because I was very vocal about these things, especially on our bus rides home. I would have like philosophical debates. It was like a 30-minute bus ride, and I would bring this up so much. But other than that, we would always be sitting in the front of the bus and playing our Nintendo 3DS games, playing Mario Kart, Mario Party, basically any kind of Mario game, and having tournaments until everyone got off the bus and went home.
You actually play tournaments? You're actually a nerd.
I didn't own a 3DS. I would have to borrow someone else's. So not only was I poor, but I was playing on somebody else's game for the entire bus ride.
No, I played Flappy Bird on the bus.
Get out of that call, bro.
I was genuinely good at that game.
Yo, I watched Juicy play Geometry Dash for 4 hours. But why it was so crazy is that he was still on the first level and he couldn't beat the first jump for 4 hours. You just heard.
I just enjoyed the game.
So when you would have tournaments like this on a bus, of course we're going to be talking the craziest amount of trash talk to one another because we wanted to get inside each other's heads and have mental warfare with one another so we could have an easier win. So our rivalry was destined. It was bound to happen. Me and Benjamin were bound to cross paths on a mental level.
I have soul mates, bro. You got soul enemies as well, bro. Like, Sock's soul enemy. I'm in here to ruin his life, bro. He doesn't even know it, though.
Oh, I know it.
Well aware, actually.
So I'm saying the generic things like you're bad at the game, you suck, you're failing all your classes, etc., etc. He wanted to start coming at me personally. He was calling me fat.
What this is your skinniness?
That was the problem, right? And I don't mind getting called this, especially if I know you. If I'm friends with you, you can say whatever you want. But if I don't know you, if I don't care about your existence, you have no right to be calling me anything. But he was saying a bunch of other things that was much worse than that, but I personally was not having it. I was a calm person. None of these things broke my limits because at the end of the day, I'm going home. I don't care.
But you're the New Yorkian. You gotta stand your ground, twin.
Oh, I'm getting there. Then eventually, he starts trying to cross the line. He starts talking about my mother. Immediately, my face went from like laughing and joking with all the friends around me to locked in mode. Stop before I get angry. Do not talk about my mother ever again. And he questioned it. You wanna bet? I bet you won't do anything about it. Ooh.
Oh.
Asking for a fight, bro.
Literally is begging me to do something about it. I'm giving you one more chance. Just apologize, say you're sorry, and just don't talk to me for the rest of the bus ride, and everything will be cool. And he's like, you're not gonna do anything about it.
What?
Okay, fine. Then say something. I dare you. I forgot what he said in the moment. And even if I did remember, I'm not going to mention it. It was the worst thing that I've ever heard someone say about my mother. And he said that for the rest of the bus ride home.
He kept saying it.
He kept saying it. I was in my bus seat turning redder than I've ever seen in my life. I do not condone anyone doing anything that I do in the store. I'm a very peaceful guy. But in this moment, fueled by anger, the only thing that made sense to me
Was your fist across his mouth?
no, I think a fist is too generous. I needed to humiliate him. So what I do, I backhanded him. I literally backhanded him in the middle of the bus with everyone's vision.
Did it make the sound?
Of course it made it sound. I don't miss. And I did it as hard as I possibly could.
Oh my god, I hear it all the way from over here. And I'm in the back of the bus with my armpits up, and for some reason, no one's sitting next to me.
Put your armpits down.
Why did you sound like that?
Wait, why is that way driving the bus?
Now, you would think that this would lead to some kind of fight, but like I said, nobody really liked Benjamin, and I knew the type of person that Benjamin was, and he wouldn't do anything about it in this situation. Because what would he do? I literally slapped the ever-living crap out of him. So he literally sat back down, started playing his 3DS in quiet, looking out the window. His thumb is in his mouth, and he's sucking on it, and he's crying.
Yo, you humiliated him.
And I'm not even exaggerating it. You know when you release all that frustration and anger?
Oh, the negative energy.
After that, you could not make me angry anymore. I just expressed everything. And everyone in the bus ride was just obviously awkward out. The tournaments got canceled, but I'm still in a good mood. Just because I slapped somebody doesn't mean that I'm gonna ruin my day for it. It actually made my day better. So at that point, I'm just like, everything is sunshines and rainbows. I'm almost home. I get dropped off the bus. I'm walking to my house, frolicking. At this point, I genuinely just forget that this entire thing has happened, and I'm enjoying life. So when I get back on that bus, Benjamin's not saying anything to me. I'm not saying anything to him. We go on about our day. We go to school, and everything is fine. No problems are coming so far. So I go into my first period class, and immediately, 20 minutes in, I get called into the principal's office.
Oh, it was nice knowing you, TBH.
Benjamin is snitch.
I've never met my middle school principal. This is the first year of my middle school as well, and I don't know where anything is. I don't even know my teachers' names. I don't know anything about anything. All I know is I have this group of friends, and we're playing handball football every single day.
You slap one of them.
I wasn't thinking that I was getting into trouble. I low-key thought that my mom was coming to pick me up for some reason, and they had to ask me questions about it. That's literally what I thought about it. So when I sat down there, I walked into a room with 20 different adults talking about how they don't accept a certain kind of action in their school, and I'm like, what is going on?
You didn't do nothing.
I hit him, and I completely forgot I did it. So they start questioning me as if I was in a live jury, and the judge was questioning a 12-year-old child. I had nothing that I was afraid of. I was gonna be open and honest, because I felt like I did nothing wrong. So they were to ask me something like, when you came to school yesterday, what was the first thing you did? Handball, football? Like, there's no problem with that, right? Then they asked me how the rest of my school day went, and I was like, I don't understand why you're questioning me about all these things. Then they get to a point where they were asking me, did anything happen on your way home? And every light flickered in my brain. I understood what they were questioning me about. I understand why I'm in this room now.
That little snitch. When I see him.
He's getting another beating.
Not afraid of anything and not ashamed of my actions. So I'm honest and I tell them we were playing video games on the way home and a kid started talking crazy about my mother. So I hit him.
Yo, you folded under no pressure.
I was being honest.
You admitted to a crime.
What would be worse, lying or...
Yes, lying. It's your word against his word.
At the same time, I was low-key proud of it. I was like, yo, he talked about my mom, so I hit him for it. But I explained that. I didn't fight him. I didn't punch him crazy. I just backhanded the guy. It's not even a big deal if you really think about it. I also warned him, don't talk about my mom or else I will do this.
That's fair enough.
I literally said I gave him multiple chances and eventually I slapped him and all had a confused look on their face like I said something wrong or I wasn't telling them the entire story. And then they asked me, is that everything? And I'm like, yeah. Are you sure about that?
They wanted more?
What did Benjamin say?
Yeah, that's exactly how I remember it. When they started to explain to me their version of the story that they were told, I genuinely just started laughing hysterically because I don't know how someone can lie this aggressively.
But what did he say that you did?
Picture this. Benjamin comes into school. He goes into the principal's office, and the version of the story that he decides to tell them was, I not only slapped him for no reason, but I was yelling racial slurs at the guy.
What?
But then everyone in the bus would have heard that.
Exactly, right? When they told me that that was his version of the story, my eyes flew out of my face. Like, excuse me? Racial slurs, punching him? That is not at all what happened. So now, this is becoming a full-blown investigation.
Investigation? They're calling the FBI.
All the people on the bus are saying that there was not at all what happened. They are saying my story is real and Benjamin's is not. But they were like split in half. Some of them believed Benjamin and some of them believed me. So they were going back and forth on the punishments that they could give me. Detention, suspension, expulsion.
What are you, in court or something?
I literally just slapped him. I did not call him anything. Benjamin was literally telling these administrators that I called him the N-word and a bunch of other words that I can't even begin to explain. So now all these 20 people have to go into a room and start discussing. They have to make a final verdict. But while they're doing that, there's a vice principal in that school and he's interviewing all of us one-on-one. And I'm talking about literally every person on that bus. There's 20 people on the bus because now I'm not only being accused of assault on another student, but also verbally abusing the guy. I'm talking to this vice principal and he's asking me to say the exact same story that I told 100 times over. And I'm like, bro, let me ask you a question. 12-year-old me, by the way. How would you feel if someone said these kind of things about your mother, I wouldn't feel good. Exactly. Would you just ignore it? Would you warn them after a certain point? And then would you hit him because he's not learning his lesson because I have to see him every day of my life? Or would you just pretend like nothing happened? I chose option A. And he was like, honestly, that kind of makes sense. Exactly. Thank you. So now this vice principal, he's on my side. He is literally saying, if I was in your position, I would do the exact same thing. Then this goes on for like almost like another week. Now me and Benjamin are not allowed to be in the same room with one another.
Like a restraining order.
I literally was in peace the moment I slapped him because I let out all my frustrations, all my angers. So at some point, I just kind of like forget about this because it genuinely means nothing to me. And I'm having a blissful time. I don't hear from Benjamin. I don't see Benjamin. I don't care about Benjamin's life right now. I'm just like, whatever you do is you and whatever I do is me. Like we are living two separate lives in this current moment, right? And then the verdict comes. And it's again, one-on-one with that vice principal. He comes up to me. Look, I think you're low-key in the right here, but the school system does not think so, right? I'm not going to give you detention. Really?
W man.
That's amazing.
I'm not getting detention for slapping another student. So what kind of actions am I facing? You're not going to have a lunch period for like a week straight. No! I have to eat lunch in the room with him. If that's the worst punishment I ever get.
Wait, that's the worst punishment.
Worse than a death sentence, bro.
Give me expulsion. I'll be expelled.
So that was the only punishment. I had to have a supervised lunch for like a week straight. And honestly, not even a big deal. And I bet you're wondering, what did my mom think about all this? My mom secretly loved that this happened.
I would too if I was a mom, bro.
Yo, you stood up for her.
My mom was like, why are they calling me from your school and saying you did all this? I hit a student because they were talking bad about you. She was like, oh,
That's my Sony.
I'll let this one slide. I'm not gonna lie. Thank you. Like, and she's very grateful, right? So that was my punishment. Like, what do you get as a punishment for exaggerating and lying on a student's behalf, trying to get them expelled from your school for one thing that you encourage?
Wait, he's getting punished?
Well, yeah, I mean, bro, he almost ruined TBH's life.
This was gonna go on my permanent record.
Really?
Yeah, in New York, there's a permanent record for public schools. So when you apply to like high school, for example, which was the next step up, there was gonna be something on my sheet saying assaulted a student. So this was almost on my permanent record. He tried to purposefully ruin my life by lying about a bunch of other things like racial slurs and exaggerating the fight that we had. So he ended up actually getting detention for a month.
Ooh.
A month?
Yes, bro.
Honestly, it should have been longer.
Yo, honestly, if I was Benjamin, bro, I'm getting my friends and jumping you, bro. Like,
He had no friends. That's the point, bro. So this is the time that I almost got my first detention. And this was a pretty bad thing. So can you imagine what did I do to actually earn my first detention ever? Any guesses?
I
Murder.
think you generally have to like nuke someone's life.
My school made 0 sense. Apparently everybody, not only the teachers, can give you detention. You know those cafeteria ladies that tell you like, oh yeah, you're allowed to go to the room?
They can't give you detention?
They can give you detention in my school.
What?
The moment that I got detention was because I was in the cafeteria. I got a packet of apples from the lunchroom, but I wasn't feeling the apples that day. So my friend, who I've known for my entire life, asked me for the packet of apples. So I didn't want to get up. I said, catch. I threw him the packet of apples immediately. Cafeteria later. You two up now.
What?
No, you're not doing this here. You almost killed somebody. What? You cannot be throwing food around here. You're gonna start a food fight. No, I'm shutting this down now. Excuse me? What are we talking about here? Does my ears deceive me? Am I about to get what I think I'm about to get? 1 week. 1 week detention. Excuse me? Genuinely, the most angry I've ever felt. They called my mother.
Not the mother.
Your son is causing a ruckus in the cafeteria, nearly starting a full-on brawl within all the student faculty. And now I have to do all of these interviews all over again. But this time I didn't get the same vice principal. I got the actual principal one-on-one. So keep in mind, backhanded a student with a Viltrum force in me versus me just tossing gently in the most flowy way a packet of apple slices. Not even the whole apple.
Wow, TBH, so inconsiderate of you. What if those apple slices hit someone?
They were in the bag, bro. At this point, I'm arguing with this cafeteria lady. Like, what did I do wrong? You don't know know what you did? I just tossed a packet of apples to a consenting person, right? And this was the worst part. At first, it was just me that got the detention from her. My friend gets up to defend me. And then she's like, oh, so you actually agreed to him throwing it? 1 week. We both have gotten detention. Not only do I have to do these stupid interviews with the principal, I have to explain to him what I did wrong. I go into that principal's office and he's like, what did you do? Can you explain to me from your perspective? Mr. Principal Person, I did nothing. Why are you here then? Well, the stupid cafeteria lady saw me toss a bag of apples. How dare you?
He agreed.
No way.
I, at this point, give up. I was like, you know what, bro? Just give me your stupid detention and just let it be. So on my permanent record, it says that I threw food in school. In my high school, my principal, when I went to my high school, when I first met him, why were you in middle school throwing food in your cafeteria? I literally got questioned about this 5 years later. Do you understand how confused I was explaining this to a grown man that I got in trouble for throwing apple slices in my god dang lunch period? He thought it was so dumb that he actually got it off my record.
That is actually so sweet.
No, why did he do that?
He was like, bro, they just wanted you to get you in trouble at that point. That week, they literally asked me to write an apology note explaining what I did wrong, why it was wrong. I had to write it by hand and paper in detention. And that was the first day. The rest of the week, they just sat there and watched me look at a wall. They didn't even give me the luxury of reading a book. Genuinely, the stupidest thing of my life. That was my first day of detention. Pen and paper in hand, writing an apology note to the principal, to the cafeteria lady, and to my own mother. And to the kid that I threw the packet to, who agreed that he wanted it tossed to him. That was the biggest waste of my time ever in my life. I would have slapped the kid 100 times more if I didn't have to deal with that one situation.
Moral of the story, don't do dangerous things like throwing apple slices in the cafeteria.
It wasn't dangerous!
I'm surprised you're not jailed.
What are you in here for? Apple slices.